Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you this. So I got one of the curiosity boxes from John Bead. They sent me one, and it was the first one. Inside had a full strand of 8mm Presciosa iridescent white pearls. They are my favorite. They're just so gorgeous. They do have an iridescence, like a pinkish hue, and then on the corner, depending on the light reflecting it, you get these little shots of blue as well, and it's just so stunning. So the other thing we got was a baggie full of these gorgeous vintage shell beads. This is what they look like on the other side. They are one of my favorite beads, and if you don't believe me, I have to show you. I dug out of my stash. I had some white ones, and I actually have some pink ones, and I have another color, a more like a subdued color, and I was waiting for I was hoarding them, but I got these from a D-stash sale, so yeah, they're special. So of course the shiny shell. Looky, I knew there was something I was going to do with these. So actually this design started out as a spiral. Let me just quickly show you what I mean by that. I did do a video on the using these Presciosa pearls for a spiral bracelet. Actually, I probably have the spiral somewhere close by. No, you know what? I sent it to Kath from England for all the lovely gifts she sent me. But so I have to make one for myself. So the idea was, instead of using these pearls, I would use these beautiful shells. And it was working out really well. But it was starting to get a bit complex. It didn't look right where there was a gap missing of beads, where say you'd put a set of beads over top of the shell, and I didn't want to hide the shell at all. So I thought, what can I do that basically creates this shape? And I was like, wait a minute, right angle weave. So in case you're wondering, this is probably one of the first designs you learn in jewelry making, beading, is this right angle weave of pearls, and then you can embellish them any way you want. And I've put white opal 4mm bicones on there. These ones are Swarovski, but you can get the Presciosa ones. They're just as beautiful. So I'm going to show you how to make this. And just to let you know, all the links are in the description. I did go to the John Bead Friends and Family site. That's where you get your curiosity box. And I thought the boxes were sold out, but somebody was asking me about the supplies for the previous video I did. So for these flowers and these fire polished beads. So I went back to see if there was any boxes left, and at that time there was 3 boxes left. So get over there. Not to mention, I have a surprise. I do have some that I bought for giveaway, so that will be coming up. I'm not sure when we're going to do that, but stay tuned, it's coming up. So let's get started on this. It's so much fun and so easy. You're going to need, of course, your strand of pearls. And for this bracelet, it didn't use all the pearls either, so you'll still have, I think, use 17 out of the 25. So that's awesome. You have 8 left after that. So get your pearls and your shells for sure. So I think we're going to have an extra one. We'll have to do something special with that one. And I'm using these 11-0 seed beads, gold, and they are that kind of really orangey color bead. And you can see how crazy that looks with these. It just totally blings it up. I totally love this color. I know some people find it a bit garish, but you know what? It's about what makes you feel good. So pick the colors. If you want something less in your face. You could use even silver. It would match with the silver reflection of the shells, and then you could put a silver clasp on. And I did. So you will need a clasp. I decided to use this clasp for a few reasons. I'm kind of looking at this as maybe some wedding jewelry, and I thought it'd be really nice to have a beautiful fancy clasp on it. And as well, these are those special endings that you can attach to a round bead that looks lovely. So that's, and the other reason I picked this is because the amount that you have the shells for only makes a certain size of bracelet. Now, let me show you on my wrist. Now I have a 5 3/4 inch wrist, so you can see you need, if you can add a bit of a clasp that has length to it, then you can, you know, fit it. Now for somebody who has a larger wrist size than mine, because there's extra pearls, you can do what I did here on the end, and you can just continue on the end with your pearls and your crystals till you get the length that you need. The other option for this, if you did just this part here, they have a thing, I've never made them, they're called wristlets. So it's like you do a strip of beads and then you put chain to or like some type of gold embellishment to finish off the bracelet. So there's always that. So let's get started. I am also using these incredible demi rounds. I have to say I use them in certain designs, and I really recommend that you have some metallic color ones in your stash. They come in handy, and they're supposed to be half size of a round bead, which that's what they look like. Now these are 8/0s, so they're demi round 8/0s, and I never go through all of them. There's just so many because you're just using them for embellishment, and I'll show you where we have these guys. Let's show you on this one, you can see better. So I have it next to the pearl on each side and next to the shell, so it kind of lays flat on the bead, and then I've put a 11/0 there. So you need your crystals and you need some thread. I am using size 6 of the dragon thread, but use what you have. If you like to use Fireline, Fireline's a little thicker compared to like the equal of this, and that's why I like using this. It's thinner, it can get through, but I'll tell you, I get worried with large 8/0 beads because they're a little bit heavier, and I'm nervous that it's not going to be strong enough. Now I have to say, I have dish full on my desk of bracelets that have even heavier stuff on it that I've never had problems with. So, there's that. The other thing with, say, a Fireline is it might get sticky because we do pass through the beads a lot, and I do that with right angle weave because I like my weave tight. That's probably the most frustrating thing I find with this, large bead right angle weave, is if it's not snug, it drives me nuts. And to do that, you need a strong thread. So let's start from this end. So if you remember with right angle weave, to start, I never even thought that I should show you a start. We're just going to continue on with this. But if you're doing a start, so say you're doing the design that I'm talking about, you're going to string your beads on using the demi rounds on each side of each bead, so your pearl and your shell, with an 11/0 in between it. Oops, like this. So for this first one, you would attach those on, go through it a second time, tie a knot, and then start to add to it. And it actually would be this way. Okay, so now this is what we have here. So we have 2 shells, top and bottom, 2 pearls side to side. So I will start from there. If you need instruction on how to start your right angle weave, let me know and I will definitely do that for you. I just kind of slipped my mind. Sometimes I've been doing this for so long, I think most people know how to do the right angle weave start. So, and that would be wrong. There's a lot of, before we move on, I have to show you. So this is kind of a two-sided design. For the people that didn't get the bead boxes or the curiosity boxes, so you don't have any of these shells, you can use whatever you have. So you can use just these here, the 8mm Presciosa pearls, but take a look at this, how it looks on the back. So you could actually wear this both ways. It looks pretty stunning. And when you use these clasps, they don't, for some reason, they don't sit with the sparkly crystals to the front. They kind of sit off to the side like this. But I leave it loose enough so that it will make its way to the front. But with doing that, you can have this at the front, or you could have it at the back, like that. Actually, more like this. Let me see here. Like that. Okay, sorry, enough jabber. Okay, so you're going to start with, here's the other thing, when you're attaching, what I've done is I've used this 8/0 demi-round as a combined one. So I want my thread to go through that one, or to come out of it, like that. And I don't think I mentioned you need a size 12 needle. You're going to be bending a lot for this. So since we already have a demi-round on this pearl, we're going to skip that and go straight to the 11/0. We're going to pick up a demi-round. So this pearl here is your combined pearl. So you actually only need one for this, like that. Now, because we have a front and a back to your shell, if you want them to all sit in the same orientation, my suggestion is when you're dealing with a front and a back bead, just place it on your mat in the orientation that you're going to add it, and go through that hole. So, you know, if I picked it up by this hole, it would end up being white on my thing. And I've actually done that when I wasn't paying attention. So let's just go back here. Let me get my thread in place. Okay, so we're starting with this pearl. We've come through the 8/0. We're going to pick up an 11/0 round, then a demi round. We're going to take our needle and go from the left of that shell. Now we're going to add, sorry, I have a lot of thread on here. Pick up a demi round, an 11/0, and a demi round. We're going to pick up a pearl, bring those down, unhook my thread. Wouldn't be beading without it. Okay, so this is what we have so far. That. So now we want to pick up a demi round, an 11/0, and a demi round, like that. We are coming from the left into the front of that shell bead. Right down, show you what it looks like. Okay, so now we need a demi round and an 11/0. We have a demi round on this pearl, so we don't need to add an extra one. So now you're gonna poke your needle in there. It's quite tight right now because I've reinforced everything, but that's why you're gonna need a size 12 needle. So just wiggle it in there. You want to come back out of that 8/0 that's sitting there. And I'll tell you, if you can't get it to come out of that 8/0, just let it go through. So it went through the 11/0 round. Just let it go through and then come back out of that 11/0 round. And pull it up. So let's get back out of that 11/0. Sometimes it's easier to do it that way than the fight with your needle. Just like there. So I'm going to pull as tight as I can get it. Now we're going to go through everything once again to reinforce it. Pull it in. So go through your 11/0, your demi round, through your shell. That. Go through the demi rounds. I think we can get through a few more of these. Through your demi round, 11/0 demi round, through the pearl. Go through the demi round, 11/0 demi round, and the shell. Bring your thread through, and then it's still a bit loose, but we're going to pull that tight. So you go through your demi round, your 11/0, and the demi round that's attached to the pearl. And you can go through the pearl if it'll let you. There we go. And try and come out of your demi round. There we go. Pull that through and give it nice and tight in there, like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our crystals. So here's the thing with doing these types of right angle weave bracelets. You can essentially go through and add all your little circles of beads, so your 4 sets, all the way through till you get to the end, then come back down and add your crystals and your accent beads. I like to do it all in one piece, and the reason I feel you get more tight grouping of your pearls that way, but whatever works for you. Like when I do stuff like this to show you, these are just suggestions. So now we're going to add our crystals. So I'm actually going to go through the 11/0, the demi round, and the shell, and come out of the shell and only the shell. To add the crystals, I'm not going to go through any beads because we're going to add our own little bead embellishment for those. So we are ready to add them. You're going to pick up 2 11/0 rounds, a bicone, 4mm bicone crystal. These are white opal. You're going to add an 11/0, another crystal, and you're going to pick up 2 11/0 rounds. So this, on our first pass, this is what you're going to put: 2 11/0s, a 4mm crystal, 1 11/0, 1 crystal, and 2 11/0s. We are coming out of the right side of the shell. We're going to go into the left side of the bottom shell, and just through that and come out the other side of that shell. Don't pass through any beads. And this is what you're going to get. Okay. So now I'm going to go, you could essentially start to add your next crystals across this way, but I like to reinforce it, so I'm going to go through a few beads and come back and do it. So there's lots of opportunity to tighten your weave here. So go through everything. I apologize for my thumb. I'm so used to holding my beads with my thumb. So we're going to come out of this shell on the left side without, let me lower the camera here. I apologize, the video from last night, I didn't realize I had it so magnified that my hands were at the bottom of the screen. I haven't done that since I started beading on YouTube. Feel it snug there. It's must have hooked on something. There. Okay, so this is an opportunity to tighten that. That will tighten that crystal. So now we're going to pick up 2 11/0s, a bicone, 1 11, no, sorry. We're going to pick up 2 11/0s and a bicone. I'm getting ahead of myself. Now we're going to pass through this combined bead in the middle. And this is a pretty common technique for embellishing right angle weave. So there's lots of videos out there. So just go through this. Hang on to that guy. There we go. Pull through. That. So now we have the 3 sides. We're going to pick up a bicone and 2 11/0s. We are going to come into the shell because we're kind of using the shell bead as our anchor for our crystals. And just get it twisted there. Okay, so now we want to bring this tight so that these guys sit above the pearls. Like that. So now I'm going to go through the pearls. So I'm going to pass through the demi-round, the 11/0, and the demi-round and the pearl, and that'll give me an opportunity to tighten that crystal. Got this. Okay, and go through the demi-round and the pearl. Come out the other side of the pearl and the demi-round. There, and I'm pulling it tight. You can see it's starting to take shape. I'm going to go through the 11/0 and the demi-round and come out just the other side of the shell. You might have to move some beads around to get it coming to the right spot, like that. And now I'm going to come through and tighten this again. So I'm going to go through the 2 11/0s. This is I have a confession to make. I need new glasses. Oh my gosh. We went to Costco to get, sign up for a appointment to get eyes tested and new glasses. And I was annoyed that the price was so high. So I'm like, no, I'm not going for the appointment. And then I find out we looked at my like that I could bill to my insurance, and it's been 2 years. So, and we're not getting younger. So I actually have had like quite a drop in my vision, especially when you do a lot of really tiny things. Okay, so I've got it nice and tight there. So now we'll just make our way around so we can add the next set of beads. So that's actually, we're coming out of the crystal, so we're going to go through the shell like that, and pull that tight. Go through the 11-0, the demi-round, and the pearl, and we're actually going to use that combined demi-round on the pearl, if it'll let me. There we go. So you would continue this for your whole bracelet till you've used up all your shells, or to the length that you want. And like I said, because I've used up all the shells except for one, and I was going to intersperse the white ones, but those white ones I have are actually 2 holes, so we're going to save them for something special. So anyway, I think it looks lovely, and it kind of goes right into the clasp. So we're just going to do the pearls. And like I said, if you don't have the shells and you have some of these 8mm pearls, you can go ahead and just do a right angle weave with that. So since we're coming out of the 8-0, we need an 11-0, a demi-round, a pearl, 8mm pearl. We need a demi-round, an 8-0, a demi-round, your next pearl, demi-round, 11-0. I don't know if I said 8-0, I meant 11-0, and a demi-round. Then this is your last pearl. So double check before you start weaving in, because I've inadvertently like lost a bead that popped off my needle, and then you get in and it's tight, it's hard to go backwards. So just check it before you start going down. So for the last pearl, all you need is 1 demi-round and 1 11-0, because we have a combined demi-round right here. So go through that demi-round with all of those things on there, and come out your demi-round after you pass through your pearl on the other side. And there is your next set of beads. So now we're going to go through this one more time. So we're going to go through the 11-0, through the demi-round, through the 11-0, through the demi-round, the 11-0, demi-round, and the next pearl. That. And don't worry if it gets loose, we will tighten this. So now go through everything. We're going to come back around to this pearl here. So you can see it's gotten snug. I'm not even hanging on to the thread, and it's tightened up. So this would look lovely just like this. I always say with some of these designs, you can stop at the first step and take a look at it and say, this is a nice, interesting bracelet. Now, you know me, I like to embellish everything. If you're standing still, I'm going to put sparkles on you. So we're right there. So now we're going to add our crystals. So we don't need any more demi rounds. Have our little mermaids for inspiration here. We're going to need some 11-Os. So we're coming out of the right side of this pearl. We're going to pick up 2 11-Os, a crystal, 1 11-O, a crystal, and 2 11-Os. So this is what you have for your first pass. You're going to go on an angle, so you're going from the right side of the top pearl to the left side of the bottom pearl. So I'm just going to pick that up just a little easier. Because we came to the outside of the pearl, make sure you go in to the pearl directly. Don't go through the 8-O. And pull it tight, and that's what you have. So now I'm going to go through and come back out this here, and that should give me some nice tension. So pass through your demi-round 8-O demi-round pearl, and I've gone through my demi-round 11-O. I keep saying 8-O. It's the demi-rounds are 11-O and the beads, seed beads, are 11s. I apologize for that. And come through the other side of the pearl. And make sure it's nice and snug. So I'm going to pull that in. Like that. Okay. Now we're going to pick up 2 11-Os and 1 crystal. We have a combined 11-O in the middle, so that's going to create this little flower looking pattern. So let's put our needle through that bead. That. And there's the beginning of our flower. Pick up your crystal. Like that. And pick up 2 11-Os. You are going to go through the 8-O pearl, 8mm pearl, I mean. And pull it all tight to get in there. And I'm just going to squeeze these together to make it nice and tight, like that. Now I'm going to go through my demi-round 11-O, and I'm going to go through and reinforce. So then go through your 8-O. It's attached to your pearl. Come out of your 8-O on the other side of the pearl. There. Go through your 11-O, your 8-O, or your demi-round. Go through the pearl. Actually, you know what? We're going to go through the crystal now. One more time. This. So we're coming out of the pearl, and we can go through the 2 11-Os through the crystal bicone, through the 11-O in the middle, through the next bicone, and if your needle will go through the next 2 11-Os. There. Go through your 8mm pearl directly without going through any other beads. pull that snug, like that. We're going to go through the 11-0, 2 11-0s through the crystal. I'm going to do this in 2 steps. There. Go through the 11-0 in the middle, through the crystal, and through the 2 11-0s. And then we're going to go through the pearl. We're going to come out the other side of the pearl. We're going to tie a knot here, and I'll tell you why. We're getting ready to do the clasp. So I like to put knots when I'm done a weave and before I put a clasp, so that if your clasp happens to come off, break, or the thread breaks, hopefully it will break somewhere in there, and that knot that's holding your beads on will stay intact. I mean, that could be wishful thinking. That would be so sad. Let me know if you've ever had a bracelet break. I had a beautiful set of, they were like sea glass. They might have been African glass now that I think of it. And it was a huge strand of it, and I was using it like doubled over on my wrist. And I was at massage, and I went to take it off. I was already on the bed, and I asked we go to the massage school, so I asked the student, I said, oh, can you put this on the side? And when I took it off, the beads went everywhere. They went all over the whole place. The other students were looking for them. So I apologize. I just put a knot. I just do a half hitch knot twice and then tighten it and then go through a few beads. So I'm going to go through my demi-round, my 11-0, the demi-round, the pearl. I'm going to do one more knot just to be safe and to tighten my lovely little design here. So let's put a knot here. So I'm grabbing a thread bridge. Like that. And going around my needle once, bring it down to the spot where you want it to knot. So between those 2 beads. And then hold on to that area with your thumb. If you don't, the thread will jump and it'll cross over one of the beads, and you'll see your thread. I think it's done it on this, actually, on this 8-0. Sometimes that technique works and other times it doesn't. Let me see if I can loosen that. Now I'm doing fine surgery here. No! You know what? I think we're going to just not worry about it for now. I will come back and fix that. I'm going to come back through here just so that you can't see it as much. Now let's get our clasp on. So take this side here. So these clasps are amazing. Here's the other thing that's great about these clasps is I can add whatever embellishment in the middle because they open on both sides. So these are fold over clasps. So if you need a bigger size, you could, you know, add a bigger thing. And I actually have one. I should show you. I almost picked this one, and I dropped it. This one here. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? This one's interesting. I didn't realize. So these here are tinier than these ones. And they open to the back. I kind of don't like it when they open to the back. Because, like, how are you supposed to put it on if it's against your wrist? right? So let's take a look at what happens here, if this will work. Oh yeah, look at that. So, you know, that way you've just extended that bracelet size from this to this. It doesn't look like a lot, but if it's snug on you, that's a lot. So there we go. Let's put that heart back on. And make sure we have the correct one that we're going to attach. Put this guy to the front. Let me see here. Like that. Okay. So now if you take a look at the clasp, there's a bar there. And I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can show it to you. There's a hole that comes right through. So if I put my needle through. So if you haven't used these, so you can put your needle through, this is great, because otherwise there's no way you can bend your needle around this bar. I have received clasps like this that don't have that hole. That's not nice. That's like a torture puzzle. Okay, so I think I did test it out with beads across the pearl, and it just looked a whole like jumbled mess. So for this one I didn't add anything. I just did the thread. So you can see the thread, but it's a clear white thread, so you can't really see it. So I'm going to leave it like that. So take your clasp, put your needle in through the one side of the bar. So just remember which side you came through, and then so that was the bottom side. So I'm going to stick my needle in pointing to the top, and look at that. I got it right. Because I've done that too. Why won't it go on the thread? So I'm going to go through. You're coming out of your pearl, you go through your clasp. Go to the other side of the pearl, and just the pearl, and come out on the other side of that pearl. That. And I'm just going to leave it loose to go through a few times. It will tighten up when we get to the end. So this way it gives you some room to get your needle in. What I did on the back one, and I've done this on a few of these designs, because I did find that these clasps, when they make them, they must make them to sit this way. But your bracelet, what you want people to see is the front. So you want them to sit this way, but if you look, that's opposite. So what I figured out is, when I was coming out of this side of the pearl, I'm going through the bottom. If I take it now through the top, it will actually make it so it swivels a bit. It's not going to be a lot, but it's enough that it can, you know, when you attach your clasp to the other side, these beautiful crystals will sit at the front. So now we're going to go through the hole and through the bottom. And pull it in, go through this side of your pearl. Oops, just the pearl. It looks like a jumbled mess, but trust me, it's not. So let's do it like that. And you want to make sure it's positioned at the end. So that part will move, but you can adjust as you're pulling tight on this side. Now you can get your needle through here. So just remember, go try and find the top part of the hole for this. Pull it tight. Then go through this hole, but try and find the bottom side by bringing your needle down. And through your pearl. That's 3 times. That should do it. If you want to, you know, reinforce it some more, you can. So now I'm going to hang on to it in the position I want it, like that, and tighten that a bit. Now I'm going to go through some beads and put a knot. So let's go through here, through the demi-round, 11/0 demi-round, and through the pearl, if we can find the hole. There we go. And I'm actually gonna see if I can come out of that pearl and put a knot on that side. That's snug. See where you want that. Not to worry if it turns. It will sit correctly when we attach it. So now I'm going to find a thread bridge here. So I'm going to go to the once, like that, and twice, and put my finger on that. There. Then I'm going to go through the demi-round, the 11/0, the demi-round, and the pearl. And I'll try and put a knot on this side of the pearl. My needle's bent, so it's not behaving. There we go. It's going to be really bent now. And I'm just going to pull till I feel that knot set. Okay, so I'm going to put another knot here. So I'm finding my thread bridge, or at least placing my needle where I want it. And I'm going to go around the needle and bring it down to the spot between the beads. You can put your finger there so it doesn't slide. And put your thumb, bring your needle through. There, pull it tight. And now you are set. I'm going to weave it through the 8/0, the demi-round, because we're next to the pearl here, through the demi-round, and we'll just put it through here. That. So we can cut this off. I'm going to use my thread burner. That aside. So this is what we have. Let's enlarge this. Sorry, enlarge this. What? So there is this gorgeous bracelet. So let's get this on here. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. Let's enlarge this so you can see. So there's the clasp with these gorgeous pearls and these shells. Is that not amazing? Ta-da! Let's try it on, see how it fits my wrist size. Oh, this is perfect, because then I have a little give so that I can attach the clasp myself, if I can grab hold. Let's try this again. There we go. I always put the heart upside down. I think it's because if I wore it, that's how I'd put the heart. But for the video, you kind of have to have it facing the other way. So that is amazing. Look at how lovely that is. Sparkly. Like that. Ta-da. So thank you for joining me, and thank you to John Bead for these wonderful gifts and inspiration to beading, this has been amazing. And that's what it looks like on the back. It's pretty cool. Ta-da! Take care, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.